Hi. In this video today, we are going to be talking about how to create a track your order screen inside of Adalo. If you remember from a previous video we recently made, we created a screen to confirm that the order was received and to give the user some feedback. And now we're going to take the next step and allow the user to track their order. Why this is useful is people are becoming more and more accustomed to seeing where their order is at so they can make decisions about should I leave now to go to the restaurant, when should I expect my package, etc. And this screen will help you do that. So let's get started. So from the order placed screen, we have a button to track the order, and we're going to link that to a new screen that I labeled track order user. The reason why you want to label it user is because we will make a similar screen that the vendor or the person who is running the company can update that order step by step, and that will make more sense in a few minutes. So the first thing we want to add to the track the order screen is we need the order ID so that the user and the vendor can reference what order this is for. So we're going to grab that current order's ID. We'll make that really simple, and let's go ahead and make that prominent. So we'll do 20 and maybe a semi-bold here so that when users get to there, they can see that. So, and then let's center that on the screen. Next, let's build out the containers for the actual visual effects that will be able to display where the order status is currently. So I like to use rectangles. It just makes it really clean and it gives me a space to work in. And then once I create this first rectangle / container with the elements that I want in, I can copy and paste that rectangle, and now it's the same across the board, and it just gives me consistency within the app. So I've got my container. The first step that when you're tracking the order is we're going to say that this order has been placed. So let's add a text component inside of the rectangle, and we'll say order placed. And then here's where the magic happens. We're going to use a button inside of this rectangle and container to show that this is the step that the user is on. So let's take the text out of the button and let's change this icon from a plus sign to a fisheye, which signifies open, and you can use a square or whatever you want to use to show that that has not been completed yet. And then the type, I'm going to change that to text. And I'm going to make that icon a little bit bigger so that you can see that. So now you can see that we have a button inside of our rectangle for order placed. And so if you were to go into this track your order screen, you would be able to visually and quickly see what status your order is at. So we also want to use a button because we have 3 additional states that allows us. And the reason why this is important is we don't want this fisheye to show the entire time. If the order has been placed, we want that to be a check mark. So if you go into additional state, and I'm going to label this one order placed, and we're going to show that when the current order status is greater than or equal to 1. And let's take that text out and let's add a check mark here. And let's go in and take that back to text, and we'll make this large. And the reason I did a number property here, let me show you the database. In the orders, I added a number property for order status number. The reason why this is important is this can be updated along the way, and it doesn't matter what this text actually says. This button is looking at that number property. So for example, when I click pay here for this order, I update the order already because I have the total, the pickup option, and all that information. Now I can update the order status number to 1. And when I go through the flow, this is going to update that to 1. When the user clicks on track order, then this order placed is going to be checked so that the user can see that the order has been placed now. And then let's copy and just go to the next box here. And now we can label this one order received. And we'll spell received correctly here. And we can update this button now for the order received container, and we'll change this to order received. Now we can say this order is greater than or equal to 2. And when the vendor sees that this order has come through, they can check mark that they have received it. And now the user and the vendor both will see that the order has been received. And then let's do another rectangle. And again, we're copying and pasting this so that we have consistency across the board. We're just changing names. And we can see, we could label this, let's say, making order. And we can adjust this to this button. And we'll say, we're going to say making order. And we're going to say this is going to be 3. So if you noticed, there's a trend here, 1, 2, 3. And we're doing greater than or equal to, because if this is 3, we want this one to show, but we also want these two to be marked off that they are completed as well. So let's do one more, at least rectangle. We're saying making order, and we can say ready for pickup. And now we can change this to, we'll make this ready for pickup is greater than or equal to 4. So now we have these rectangles here, and now we can go in and we can take this gray out of here. I did that just as a filler so I can see where I'm working with, so I can go through and take that out. So now I have an order screen where I can track my order. The other thing this allows you to do is you can have an order details here. So you can add a text box in here and just say order details. And we can make this maybe not a 20, maybe 18, whatever your font style that you want. It's totally up to you. And then we can come in here and add a custom list. And we can do order details. We can do, based on our collections, we can do order items. We can say all the order items where user order ID is equal to the current order ID. So that'll give us all the items that we ordered. So let's go ahead and change this order item to name. We can add an image in here to make it look nice. Let's start off with a 30 by 30. And just a heads up, when you're doing the width, the width has to be, the first number in the width has to be above 5 when you're typing. But if you copy the height and paste it into the width, then you can do any number under 5. So just a little tidbit for Adalo right now. So we have the 50. Let's make this look like that. Let's add here, and let's do the URL. We're going to do the current items image URL. We can take this shadow off. We don't necessarily need that. And we have the name, and of course, something that you'll probably want to add here for the order details is the cost of the item, which we already have stored in this order item. And that's the benefit of storing it in that way so that you don't have to do any extra formulas here. So let's go ahead and grab that order items, and we have, let's see, we have menu items, we have the cost, item cost here. And we want to make that, this is currency. We're going to do US currency for this one. So now we have a list of all of our order items, and then we can go through and put a total here as well. So we can do, this is the current orders total amounts. We will do that in currency as well. And let's right align that just to give it some more information here so that you will know what you ordered and where we're at here. So let's take a look at that. Let's do a live test here. Live tests are always fun. You never know what you're going to get. Let's do an order. Let's do a drink. Let's do hot coffee. An Americano sounds great. Let's do a classic Americano. We're going to add this to order. We're going to pay for the order. So now we have classic Americano. It's $4.50. The total is $4.73. Let's check out. We're going to do this. We're going to pay in store. We're not going to add a coupon this time. Let's click pay. Now we have an order confirmed, and let's track our order and see where we're at. So now I can see my order details. I can see classic Americano, $4.50. My total was $4.73 with tax, and the status of it is order placed. So now I can go through and track my order as the customer. So what you may want to do as for your users is on the home screen. You know that people want to be able to track the order really quickly. And so you can add in another button here that links to order screen. So we have, let's see, so we have previous. Let's do this. So we have on our order, we can go to previous, and if you've not searched before, do the search, and we can click here and add a click action to track the order, and then we would be able to see all the details of that at the top. So that would be an option for you. Now let's go in and let's act like the vendor. And I'm going to just copy and paste this screen, and I'm going to do a track order. Instead of labeling user, I'm going to say vendor. And I'm going to keep everything very similar. The only difference I'm going to do is, as the vendor, I want to be able to click this and have it update. So remember, we use the rectangle. So I can go in and on the rectangle itself, I can do, first of all, let's link, we have to create a order screen for the vendor. This app is really one-sided right now. So let's do previous. I'm just going to do some quick updates here. So we're going to say, we'll do vendor orders. And we're just going to say, we'll keep them logged in. That's fine. Okay, so we will do that. And then to get the current order over here, we're going to add a link. We're going to link to track order vendor. All right, so now the current order should be here. Actually, let's do this. Let's do a list of all orders. And this is a list of orders. And we're going to link this to the track order vendor. Okay. So now that current order is there. And we are going to do some updates here on the rectangle for the vendor. So we're going to update the current order. And we're going to say if we click here, then the status should be 1. And if we click here, we're going to update the current order and the status should be 2. And if we click here, we're going to update the current order and the status should be 3. And if we click here, we're going to update the current order, the status will be 4. Okay, so now let's build something in where we can start tracking the orders. I'm going to do this button for this temporary, just to link to the vendor order. Okay, so now let's refresh, and we can see that we have the button for the vendor. And let's go back just so we are on the same page. Let's change this order name, and let's on the subtitle, let's do the order ID so I can show you which order we're updating. All right. So now we're on previous. This was order 131, if you remember correctly. So let's go ahead, and now we are on order 131. And as the vendor, and let me just change this to make sure you can see the difference. I'm going to say vendor track order. Let's hit refresh. Okay, so I'm looking at vendor order, and then on this previous screen, let's show you here. So now I'm going to click order received. So now the check mark is here. I'm going to say we are now making the order, and let's pause for just a moment, and let's go to look at this particular user's order, and we would look at it from the user side. So we're going to say, let's do a list of orders, and we're going to do the most, let's see, the newest to oldest, and let's do a subtitle here. Let's do order ID, and then let's link this to track user order. Okay, and now let's refresh. So I'm on the vendor side. If I go to my previous and want to take a look at my order number here, let's see, 131. I can now see that from the user side, because it doesn't say vendor anymore, that my order is being made right now. And let's go back to home and let's click ready for pickup. And what's great about doing a track your order side for the vendor so they can update the screen is that now if you wanted to, you could say, okay, let's click that and let's update the order, but then let's give a notification and trigger a notification for the users, that you could let them know, hey, your order is ready, or hey, we just dropped this off at your door. So adding a tracking feature to your app is a great for the user and the vendor. There's a lot of benefits to it, and it's really simple to do. And the main driver for that is adding that number property to your order. Because let's say you're working with a client or you're building this and you're like, you know what, I don't want to say making order. Maybe I want to say prepping order, and then you can go through here and change it. But you don't have to change any of the logic because you associated this update with a number property. So that's just a little tip for creating a track order screen. You can get creative here if you wanted to. You could even come in if you want a line in here. A lot of creative things you can do. If you wanted to make it look like a progress bar, you could create a rectangle, make it narrow, and then you can play with the spacing and font and color of it. And so you can come in here and do this. And so now it looks like we're doing a progress bar. You could flip this and have these circles be connected horizontally instead of vertically. There's a lot of different ways that you can make this track your order screen creative and look nice. Take inspiration from other apps that you might use that you really enjoy and try to duplicate that design. And you can see adding those rectangles just makes it look a little cleaner, makes it look nice. So that's tracking your order screens in Adalo. Thank you.